Hey YouTube, it's Empyrant, and today I wanted to take a look at an often overlooked unit in Castle Age, the Light Cav. Most people know and think of Light Cav, or if you're a civilization that has it, Hussar as raiding units for Imperial Age, or as a specialized unit in Castle Age only for sniping monks. Even though Light Cav's earlier version, the Scout Cavalry often sees use in Feudal Age as early aggression. But does the Castle Age Light Cav deserve its relegation as the forgotten member of the Scout line, or have we all been sleeping on this potential powerhouse? Let's take a look. First off, it's easy to see why somebody might look past the Light Cav in Castle Age. After all, it shares the stable with the Knight line, the true shock trooper of AOE. In addition, while Knights can be produced immediately upon hitting Castle Age, Light Cav has to be researched in order to upgrade your Scouts. However, on the flip side of that argument, Scouts can be massed on the way up to Castle Age, then upgraded to Light Cav, similar to how Archers are often massed on the way up to Castle Age before being upgraded to Crossbow. But how do Light Cav compare to a Knight on paper, and can you ever justify going Light Cav instead of Knight to start off Castle Age? Right off the bat, we can see that the Light Cav is not going to hold up to the Knight line in a one-on-one fight, with the Knight having 3 more base attack, 2 more melee armor, and 40 more hit points. The only stats leaning in the Light Cav's favor here is speed and line of sight, plus the Light Cav's bonus damage to monks and conversion resistance. So if we are going to find some good use for Light Cav, it's going to have to come from its cost effectiveness. Both units are produced in 30 seconds, with the Light Cav being significantly cheaper than the Knight, costing only 80 food with no gold cost as compared to the Knight's 60 food and 75 gold cost. The only thing to remember is that we're looking at early Castle Age here, where gold is usually plentiful and potentially even easier to come by than food, depending on your farm count heading into Castle Age. For this reason, we are not going to weight gold differently than food at all. Looking at a fight of balanced resources, with 10 Light Cav equal to 800 resources against 6 Knights equal to 810 resources, we see that it's not even close. The Knights end up surviving with about 47% of their hit points left. In fact, in order to get the Light Cav to win against the Knights, you need to spend 40% more resources, needing 14 Light Cav in order to beat those same 6 Knights. In addition to the needed extra resources, this also means that it would take 3.5 minutes to produce these 14 Light Cav using a standard double stable Castle Age build, as opposed to just 1.5 minutes for the 6 Knights. So that's it then, right? Light Cav should be relegated to Monk Snipers in Castle Age? Well, hold on, there are a couple more cases we should look at. First up is Crossbowmen. There's actually a potential case to be made for the Light Cav here against Archers, since they do have the same 2 Pierce armor as the Knight, unlike their 0 melee armor, which was obviously making a difference in their fight against the Knights. So how do Light Cav do against Archers compared to Knights? If we again balance resources, with 10 Light Cav equal to 800 resources against 12 Archers equal to 840 resources, we can see that the Light Cav do win. But that's not necessarily what we were looking at here. We want to know whether or not they can be situationally better than the Knight line. The Light Cav finished this test with about 60% of their health left. If we run the same test using our 6 Knights from earlier, so 810 resources worth, we see that the Knights finished with about 55% of their health left. Aha! So there is some reasoning to this madness. And yet, this still doesn't tell the whole tale. This was just looking at static fights with 0 micro whatsoever. Let's see what happens if we try to add micro into these same situations. While this does of course add human error, I did several trials and averaged the results in order to mitigate discrepancies between each run. I also used stop micro instead of targeting micro in order to take my own tendency to misclick my targets out of the equation and give more consistent results. Across 3 separate tests, the Light Cav actually tended to do considerably better than the Knights, with an average of 41.5% of the Light Cav's total hit points remaining across 3 tests, while the Knights averaged only 21.6% of their health left over. While this may be surprising at first, it actually does seem pretty reasonable once you consider that the Light Cav have a movement speed of 1.5 compared to the Knights' 1.35. Additionally, since there are 10 Light Cavs each with 60 health, and 6 Knights each with 100 health being looked at here, the total hit points for both groups is actually 600, and both the Knights and the Light Cav have 2 Pierce armor. While the Knights are doing more damage per attack, and as such take the Crossbowmen out in 4 hits instead of the Light Cav's 5 hits, there are also 4 less of them in our tests, which combined with their slower speed means that they are simply not getting as many hits in on the mass as compared to the Light Cav. Two last factors working against the Knights here is the fact that the Knights are much easier to micro down, since it's easier to focus fire one of 6 slower moving Knights as opposed to 10 faster moving Light Cav, even though I was using stop micro in these tests, and the fact that there tends to be more overkill on the lower health, more abundant Light Cav. Overkill can be a huge problem when trying to effectively micro units down, as 10 archers all firing at a 1 hit point unit are essentially wasting 9 arrows. Okay, so Light Cav may have a use against archers, at least being more cost effective against them than Knights. But how do they compare to Knights against the bane of all cavalry in Castle Age, the pikemen? Obviously, neither Knights nor Light Cav are going to be particularly strong in this case, but if you had to choose one, which trades more cost effectively against pikemen in Castle Age? It turns out, they trade essentially exactly the same against pikemen with equal resources, with both the Knights and the Light Cav losing, with the pikemen having approximately 69%, nice, of their health left. So what does all of this mean? Well, unfortunately, I don't believe we were able to move the Light Cav much above its currently very specialized place in Castle Age. They of course are great for sniping monks, and a massive Light Cav is a great way to clear up a siege monk push, so long as the opponent hasn't added too many pikemen in. Aside from that though, you can make an argument for Light Cav if your opponent appears to be going straight Crossbowmen in Castle Age, but remember that Light Cav only trade better against archers than Knights do when resources are balanced, meaning you will need approximately 66% more Light Cav than you would Knights. Since Knights and Light Cav both produce in 30 seconds, you will need to add an extra stable or two in order to produce enough Light Cav in the same amount of time that you could have produced the Knights. I think the best way to use this information is to pay attention to your resources early Castle Age. If you forgot to send enough to gold or were pushed off your gold early in the game, realize that it is okay to go into Light Cav instead of Knights, so long as your opponent is going straight archers. It is never a good idea to go Light Cav against an opponent going Knights, and of course, Light Cav are going to struggle against an opponent's pikemen in the exact same way that Knights would. That's all for me today though. Thanks for watching this video everyone. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up down below, hit that subscribe button, and leave any questions you may have down in the comments below. Otherwise, thanks for watching, I hope to see you all on the stream sometime, and have a good one.